Shalom, Israel, shalom, shalom. It's your brother Eric with H.O.I. Las Vegas, coming again with another precept of the day. And this topic is it possible to be perfect, right, in this walk? Before we get started, I'd like to give our honor and glory to the Most High, Yahweh Shem Mashiach Yahushua. I'd like to give a double honors to the elect elders that's paving the way in H.O.I. and other congregations that paved the way for us in this truth. And I'd like to get into it. Let's go to the book of Romans, chapter 2. Now we're going to go to the book of Romans, chapter 12, and verse 2. And it reads, "And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and peace and perfect will of God." Right? It says, and be not conformed to this world, right? But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So we can't be attached to this world, man, right? We have to change our ways, our mindset. We have to transform. We have to change the way we are, right? We have to change the way we think, the way we speak, the way we conduct ourselves when we're out, right? We have to change all aspects of our old self, right? It says, by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God, right? So you have to prove what is good, and acceptable and perfect will of God, man, right? Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 6, and verse 9. And it reads, These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generation. And Noah walked with God. So when you ask yourself, is it possible to be perfect? Yes. Right here it's telling you, these are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generation. And Noah walked with God. So Noah was following the law, statutes, and commandments. He was doing the will of the Lord, right? That's one. Let's go to another one. Let's go to Genesis chapter 17 and verse 1. And when Abraham was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be thou perfect. Right? So it's a possibility to be perfect. A lot of us be confused on that, man, but it's a possibility to be perfect if you're following the law, right? If you're following what the Most High asks of us, right? Because all the prophet Noah, Abram, like they was perfect, because they walked in the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord, right? They followed His laws. They followed it. They followed it, man, and that's important. That's what we have to do. We have to follow our forefathers' footsteps. We have to follow the prophets of old, right? Let's go to Psalms 19 and verse 7. And it reads, The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. Right? It says, the law of the Lord is perfect. So if the law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul, that means if you're following what's perfect, you're going to become perfect. If you're following the laws, statutes, and commandments, you're going to become perfect too as well. It says the testimonies of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple, right? Making wise the simple-minded people, right? Let's get another one. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 8 and verse 61. And it reads, let your heart therefore be perfect with the Lord our God, to walk in his statutes and to keep his commandments, as at this day. So to this day, man, let your heart therefore be perfect, man, right? With the Lord our God, and walk in his statutes and keep his commandments, right? That's what you have to do. If you keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability, the Most High knows our hearts, right? So he knows when we're deeply and sincerely, like really seeking him, like really trying to follow these law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability, right? So you're gonna be just like Noah. You're gonna be just like Abram, right? Just like the prophets of old. You're gonna be just like them, man, because you're striving to follow his laws, right? Let's get Job 1:1. Okay. It says, there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil, right? So Job, he was a God-fearing man, right? He kept the laws of the Most High. He feared the Lord, and that's the beginning of it. That's the beginning. You have to fear the Lord and and follow his law, statutes, and commandments, right? Job, man, he went through a lot, and he went through trials and tribulations, man. But at the end, he still endured until the end. He stayed 10 toes down. He was unmovable in his walk, right? Let's go to Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter 34 and verse 8. It reads, the law shall be found perfect without lies, and wisdom is perfection to a faithful mouth, right? It says the law shall be found perfect without lies. So when you're following the law, that's the basics, that's your foundation, right? You can't go wrong if you're following the law, statutes, and commandments, right? You cannot go wrong. It said without lies, man. And wisdom is perfection to a faithful mouth, man. Alright? So at the end of the day, if you following these laws, statutes, and commandments, you got a chance in this thing, man, to be perfect. And then if you got that wisdom, man, how much more, right? Let's go to another one. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5 and verse 48. It reads, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. So if he's telling us to be perfect, that means you can obtain it, right? You can be perfect. That means you could be perfect. It's a possibility you could be perfect. You can be perfect, right? It says, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. So you can be perfect. A lot of people say, oh, you ain't nobody perfect. Ain't nobody this. But at the end of the day, if you striving and you doing the will of the Lord, you're following his law, statutes, and commandments, yes, you can be perfect. Yes, you can. I got one more. No, I ended on that one. But it's more on that, man. It's more precepts on that, man. But at the end of the day, y'all get the gist. I hope y'all was edified with that. Um, but yeah, I like to give all honor and glory to the Most High Yahweh by Shem Mashiach Yahweh. It's your brother Eric Highway, H.O.I. Las Vegas. It's H.O.I. to the chariot fly. That being said, Shalom. Keep reading, keep praying, keep fasting. Stay 10 toes down in this walk. Stay unmovable, and keep seeking the kingdom, right? I love y'all. Keep reading. Shalom.